Hi guys, Luna here, and welcome back to our life. Let's just get right into it, shall we? We're going to be doing the boating adventure. You perch on the kitchen island while idling away at the minutes until your sister joined you downstairs. It was a quiet adventure planned today. Lead had come down near the Sunset Bird area as part of what she called a little trip. Apparently, she thought how nice it would be to go on a private boat trip this summer to celebrate graduation and everything. What might have been an idle dream for most people turned into reality in Lee's hands. You've been invited along for the ride by your best cousin. It's kind of insane that she could make it happen. You knew renting a boat was possible, of course. You did live by the beach after all, and these things got advertised, but you also knew that it was expensive. For Lee, the cost was no object, and she wanted to share the experience. You weren't the only one who was heading out onto the trip. Liz was coming, of course. Your moms had been invited, but hadn't been able to find the time to squeeze it in. And so the trip would only involve the kids of the family, a term that had stuck despite all three of you being adults now. Mom would have joked about cramping your style, but there was apparently plenty of room on the ship. Lee had been more than happy for you and Liz to bring other friends along if you'd wanted. But the trip out to Sunset Bird, then even further out to where Lee and the boat would be, just wasn't feasible for most people. Not many folks lived close by. There was naturally one person around who would always be there for the ride, Cove. You were just about to meet up with him outside. Lee had been glad when you told her he would be able to come along today. Just as you were thinking about your cousin and her plans for the day, your phone sprang to life. Glancing at the display, you saw that the incoming call was from Lee herself. You answered it without pause. Hey!
Hi!
Hey! She drove straight into the topic, the trip meetup. You could hear the trill of her excitement in her voice. I'm here now and everything's all set. All you gotta do is show up and we'll be off. Woo! She spoke quickly and animated by anticipation. Hooray! You echoed her enthusiasm. Great, can't wait to see you. Liz and Cove are definitely still on board too, right? Yep. Wonderful. And when Lee spoke again, her teasing tone told you what she was coming next prying. Cove is coming purely out as your very good friend and neighbor, I take it. Still haven't asked him out yet? Yes, Lee. That's what I thought. It only took you, 10 years to decide that you're interested in him that way? You wouldn't want to rush the process of actually doing something about those feelings. She giggled at her comment and he shook her head, despite not her being able to see it. But, moving on to a less sensitive topic, there's still a bit of time before you're due to set off. Is there anyone you want to extend the last-minute invite to? No need to keep any guest list sparse now. It's not like we're bumming it into anyone else to join when they were out in the middle of the ocean. Well, there's this new guy in the neighborhood I like. Invite him. Luna, you gotta see if he wants to come. I need to see who your new friend is. Sure, I'll see if he can squeeze a sudden boat trip into his busy schedule.
Talk to you later.
I'll let you go. I'll have it if you want to see. I have to if I want to see you here in the flesh. She added the last words dramatically, making them sound more like a threat than a statement. Laughing, you shook your head. Lee chuckled along down the phone. Bye, Lee. Bye. Now that your attention was free, you looked over to the stairs to see if Lidge had emerged yet, but there was still no sign of her. You figured that you might as well go see if Cove was ready in the meantime. Besides, you need to stop by Baxter's place and invite him along. Liz would catch up, you were sure. You sent her a text on the updated plan, grabbed her phone one more time to let her know where you'd gone. With that, you hopped off the chair and headed out the door. A sunny day greeted you, shielding your eyes with a hand. You admired the sky. It looked like good weather for heading out on the water. That was something. You heard your name call and turned automatically. Cove was the source of the call. He was standing halfway between his own house and yours. He waved at you as he walked over. Waited for him to join you. The warmth way so felt good on your skin. You wanted to bask in it, uninterrupted a little while longer. Cove reached you after a few moments. Hey, well, look who it is. Ready to go? Cove nodded easily, blinking languidly in the sunlight. Then his mouth curved into a gentle smirk. First jet skis, now a boat. What aquatic transportation device is up for us? My mom's on the submarine. He laughed. It's been an adventurous summer for sure. Cove grinned, pleased that he assumed he amused you. Cove glanced away, chewing his lips with concentration. Is it really okay for me to come? He snorted with laughter, recalling these openness to any and all friends and acquaintances, but the troubled look on Cove's face ended your mirth. Of course it is. You're always invited, remember? Cove rubbed the back of his neck, frowning as if trying to work out it himself. Yeah, I don't know. This is a really risky trip, and he's your cousin, not mine.
I mean,
the two of us mainly are friends, maybe? It's not like we ever hung out on our own. I'm kind of worried I'm gonna not be out of place. She wants you there, I promise. Okay, you're right. Cove managed a small smile. The worry hadn't been lifted from his very good shoulders, but you could tell that he was attempting to project a little bit more confidence. I'm gonna go, don't worry. Good. You're satisfied with that. And, I meant to tell you, I'm gonna be inviting Baxter too. I gotta check if he's in now before we run out of time.
Huh?
Huh? Really? Cove was stunned. He hadn't been prepared for any son's extra surprises. He shook it off forever. Alright, it's not like this isn't already gonna be awkward for me. He was joking, mostly. I'll wait for you here. Okay, Cove, I'll see you in a bit. He showed over to the condo Baxter was staying in and rang the doorbell. You recall the last time you had seen Baxter's place, but before memories could claim you, the door slid open. Baxter looked out, his head tilted in interest.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Una. What a nice surprise. He folded his arms over his chest, leaning casually against the doorframe. Is there something I can do for you? Wanna head out on a boat ride with my family in Cove? His eyes widened only briefly before resting back to his usual languorous expression. It was either an impressive show of restraint or Baxter's life involved more impromptu boat trips than yours. Perhaps both.
I can do that.
I can do that. I'll love to. What, you didn't have plans already? No, seriously, that's great. To your surprise, Baxter's mouth curled into a little smirk. My schedule's always open for an improved itinerary. I'm flexible, remember? Oh. He was not only agreeing to come on the trip, but apparently canceling some other plan in order to make it happen. Baxter was certainly something. Thanks for keeping me in mind. I think this is going to be fun. He slipped outside after securing the door behind him. He swept out an arm indicating for you to lead the way. The first stop was the collective Cove. He was waiting, as promised, where you left him.
Good afternoon.
Cove, good to see you. Hi. There was still no sign of Liz. You took the opportunity to bring Baxter up to the date on the plan for the day. You took your words with interest. Only a minute or two passed before the door opened to your house finally opened. Liz framed within like a portrait. Unlike you, she had no need to shield her eyes with a hand in order to protect them from the sun's bright ray, as her hat performing the job admirably. Spotting you, she headed straight over. She smiled warmly at you and Cove as she approached. Her attention then promptly turned to the group's new addition. Nice to see you again, Baxter. His eyes closed as he bowed his head in a nod ever so slightly. And the same to you. Living on the same street has given Liz and Baxter the opportunity to get to know each other over the course of the summer. Though she had spent less time with him as you had, you anticipated that she wouldn't object to him tagging along on the trip. I asked him to join us today. Just as you expected, Liz hadn't been much of a reaction to the hadn't had much of a reaction to the change of plan. She merely raised her brow.
Oh.
I feel like you and Lee will become fast friends, Baxter. Baxter smiled politely. With that, your little group piled into the car. It had been decided in advance that you'd be heading over in Cove's car. Then you set up for the journey down the coast to where you'd been meeting Lee. You would ride down California's shoreline with sparkling ocean's water on one side and craggy cliffs on the other. The world blurred by till eventually made it safely to the large harbor. It was far grander scale than than the one near Mr. Holton's shop. Boats 2, 3, even 5 times larger could fit. Liz took charge from there, calling up your cousin to guide you the rest of the way. Lee did her best to explain where precisely the boat was docked. Given that she was doing it without seeing where you were, and that it was an area she was only slightly familiar with herself, she did a pretty good job. It took a little bit of fumbling, a little retracing of steps, as your cousin and your sister had different definitions of orange. That was a rusty brown, Liz had protested. But before too long, you heard her voice calling to you, not from the phone in Liz's hands, but over the wind of run rolling off the ocean. Searching for the source of the sound, you found her on the prow of the ship, jumping in the air and raving frantically to get your attention. You've arrived. Lee dashed from the bow over the gangway where you boarded one by one. Hi everyone, I'm so glad you got here today. You could tell that even if she said nothing, her bright grin as she saw you all spoke loud and clear. Ahoy, Captain Lee! You squeezed her in a side hug. Shaking one arm around her shoulder, you pulled her against you. Lee wrapped an arm around your waist and hugged you back. I love her outfit. Her outfit looks great. After greeting you, Lee turned to look over your face of the others who had been joining on your ocean voyage. Her attention was immediately pulled to the only one in the group that she had not met before. Grinning, she approached him.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. Hi, I'm Lee. So excited to meet this mysterious new man on the block. What a coincidence. I'm looking forward to meeting our gracious host for the day.
To be honest,
But I must confess, I'm not that mysterious. I'm rather open. I do hope that doesn't come as a disappointment. Not at all. I can appreciate the foreignness, so welcome aboard. With that, she glanced over at the others.
Thank you.
Lee, thanks again for taking us on this lovely trip. Cove hovered awkwardly behind you and your sister. Even with Liz's broad sun hat, he was too tall and the group was too small to hide effectively. He made a fleeting eye contact with Lee, then looked away. Hi, thank you for letting me come. This boat's cool. He chuckled nervously. Lee smiled, entertained by his bumbling phrasing. Hi, Cove. She giggled as she spoke, unable to hide her amusement. Cove lowered his head. You couldn't help but smirk at his reaction. Cove's little game of hide and seek is pretty funny. He sighed with embarrassment as he rubbed it at his arm. The floor seemed to give beneath you as Lee whooped with delight, and you realized the ship had pulled out from under the water. It had been so steady while it was moored that you had temporarily forgotten that you weren't on solid grounds. Now, as the boat rocked beneath your feet, there was no doubt you were truly setting sail. The little group dissipated into chat or heading off into the railings to watch the ocean. You were ruffled by the breeze, which seemed stronger out on the water than it was back on the shore. The floor continued to rise and fall, reminding of standing in a bouncy house while others jumped. You were curious on how the trip would go. As you let your surroundings truly sink in, you thought today was shaping up to be memorable. You were glad that you had been able to join me on this trip. We can really get this party started now. Oh, wonderful. What did you have in mind? Well, the word hung in the air as your cousin stalled. It was clear she didn't have something immediately in mind. Cove's eyes sparkled as he piped up. Can we get out of the boat, like go swimming around to the deep ocean? Sometimes you swear that boy was part mermaid, the way he was continuously drawn into the water, but Liz immediately quashed the suggestion.
No.
Her tone left no room for debate. Basto chuckled and combing a hand through his hair. I'd prefer to stay on board too.
Sorry,
it's not that kind of boat ship. It isn't supposed to stop anywhere. If someone did end up off in the water, the captain would call the Coast Guard on us. Cove's shoulders slumped on the resounding rejection.
all right.
Fine. We'll also find something to do, fun to do, Cove. Truthfully, there isn't much we can do on the boat that we couldn't technically do back on land. I often take the trips with my father out on our boat. He always spends time deep sea fishing. I'm not much of a fisherman personally. Activities that could be done while not on the boat sound exciting to me. Visibly bolstered by back to support, Lee smiled warmly at him. Huh. My dad also takes me fishing sometimes, though we do it on the docks by my dad's shop. I'm not that good at it either. Baxter snickered, his expression warm as he looked at Cove. He appreciated the delicate attempts to relate, especially how standoffish Cove normally was with him. That's the fate of sons with their dads, apparently. Luckily, we won't be doing that now. Yeah. I like fishing. I've been fishing before. Liz nodded. There's nothing wrong with some non-tactical themed activities. You could play a party game for all I care.
Yeah!
Yeah, we'll do a party game. You saw her brow furrow for just a moment as she mentally conjured the possibilities, then smoothed out as the one came to mind. Ooh, what about the one where something's written down and people give clues and one person has to guess what it is? Sure, I said I'll play a party game and I stand by it. Who's guessing first? How about rock, paper, scissors decide? The others blinked at you as he made a suggestion. Liz's expression was skeptical. How are we supposed to decide who took turns for that? The game is supposed to decide who's taking turns first in the game we originally decided to play. Lee snickered, batting a hand in the hair to brush away the minor details.
Trust me.
Don't be like that. We'll make it work. It's a good idea. More games equals more fun. Together, you agreed on an order to go in the set games, and mini competition was on, with Lee and Liz facing each other in the first rounds. Liz was triumphant in the first game. The next challenger was Baxter. He and Liz went up against each other, and Baxter emerged victorious. Now he's waiting to see who he would go up against in the next round. Meanwhile, you were gearing up for a round against Cove. The winner would be Baxter's opponents. Cove stared at you with narrowed eyes. The mini-game was really only to be a bit of meaningless fun, but Cove was net business. You took your positions, facing each other as the others watched. You raised a hand, curled into a fist, just as Cove did the same. On 3! Cove frowned, focusing intently on your hand as he might predict what the shape would make. 1, 2, 3. You picked rock. On the call of 3, Cove's hand stayed in the fist. He went for rock. The hands between the two of you mirrored in the same gesture. Again. The countdown began again and you put your faith in scissors. On the call of 3, Cove's pointer and middle finger spun free of his fist. He chose the scissors. The hands between you mirrored in the same gesture. Again. The countdown began again and you put your faith. So if he did rock then scissors, he's probably going to do paper. No, he did whatever the thing's weak to. Yeah, so he did paper. So I'll do scissors again. Darn it! On the call of 3, Cove's hand stayed as a fist. He went for a rock. Cove wins. Cove punched the air, paying a victorious gesture with a single proud laugh. You got the better of you today. But Cove's celebration abruptly cut off as he refocused on the new challenge ahead. Cove hadn't truly won yet. He gave his final opponent a look of steel. Baxter approached, and Cove's pose stiffened with every step of monochrome newcomer's look. Cove's transparent bristling brought a sympathetic smile to Baxter's face. I can concede if this isn't fun anymore.
No!
No, we have to do it. You can't just let me win. I'm having fun. The frazzled assertion wasn't as convincing as Cove seemed to think it was. However, Baxter accepted hesitantly. Alright. He then tilted his head and a smile angled with it. Good luck. Good luck to you. The two young men raised their fists for the last game. The countdown began and Cove threw out paper and covering Baxter's rock. It was over. Cove stamped his feet in rapid succession before following it up with a fist pump using both arms. Yes! He cheered in a whisper to himself. Cove was absolutely beaming. He won. Wow, you're not just Cove Holden, you're Cove Golden. Yeah, I guess I am. Lee shot Cove an amused thumbs up as Liz chuckled in disbelief. The actual game hasn't even started and he's already getting like this. Baxter applauded politely, smoothing over Liz's interjection.
Not bad.
Not a bad, good game. Cove continued to smile widely, the other contributions not even reaching him in the blissful state of victory. Hey, you gotten rusty with your party game skills, Luna. Liz slightly slapped his shoulder at that comment. He chuckled unrepentantly. With a devious grin, Lee picked up a pen and notepad from the bar counter. She twirled the glittery pen with her fingers. Lee clarified the rules after Cove raised a wavy eyebrow. Random words would be written down and folded up to give to another player. When it was someone's turn to be the guesser, they would show everyone else the word, but couldn't look at themselves. The other players had to help the guesser figure out what the word was without saying it directly. Each person was allowed only one clue. After all the hints were given, the guesser would have to decide. Lee gave each guest at the mini-party a piece of paper on from her notepad. It was surprisingly thick-lined paper with a little starfish printed at the bottom. She scrounged around to find more writing implements. She managed to dig up a short pencil with an old chili grip on it, a ballpoint pen with a logo you didn't recognize, and a purple crayon. Baxter had a nice pen on with him already, so he respectfully passed Lee's offer. She turned to you.
Okay.
Here, pick one. Can I have the purple crayon? Of course. You pull the crayon from the fan assortment of options Lee had presented to you. The crayon was a lot thicker than what you were used to. It smelled like kindergarten with the hit of those restaurants that used to give crayons with their kid menu. After a random selection of words are determined and the papers are passed around, it's time to start.
Alright.
I guess we know who's going now. Cove flipped open his paper and showed it to the crowd. He kept his hands at the back of the note so he couldn't see the word even if light shone through it. In blockly, wobbly text, he read the word potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em, put 'em in a stew. You pursed your lips together as you thought what you'd say. Sack! Liz turned her head with an incredulous expression while Lee continued her thought. She jumped up, pointing right at the paper Cove had in his hand. Put him in a sack. Cove blinked at Lee, deeply confused. Lee smiled back, full confidence that he would come to understanding eventually. It's a major vegetable used in croquettes. I don't know what that dish is. Yeah, exactly, I don't know what that is.
Really?
Really. Baxter was earnestly taken aback, as if Cole had just said he'd never had toast before. Maybe you should change that. There has to be somewhere in this town that serves him right. Liz clears her throat, saving Cove from having to respond beyond his frown. It's that Mr. Toy with the different faces and things. Cove tilted his head, oddly baffled at the different directions that everyone had taken. See, Mr. Potato Head, Potato Sack, I don't know what the dish is, so
What?
What's up, Mr. Toy? Liv simply shook her head at the lack of an understanding. It was your turn to try. Forget the crickets. French fries. You gave him a look, sending the right answer right in while filling in the blank extra left. Potatoes! Or is it a singular potato?
Yeah!
You're right, yeah. Cove repeated again with a bright grin. Potatoes! Cove was cute sometimes. You couldn't help but feeling happy too over victories and joys. He held out his hand to you, celebratory high five. Gave him a fist bump instead. He switched his hand to a fist without comment, fist bumped you back. Thanks for the hints. I don't think I would have gone without that. Welcome. Congrats on Let's Do It Again. Baxter fished out the paper from out of his ripped pants pocket and presented it to the group. Loopy handwriting spelled out the word slide. Oh, kids like it. It's for kids. Kids. Lee bounced enthusiastically, holding out a hand to indicate the short height of the children. Baxter nodded slowly.
All right.
It's at playgrounds, but it's not really small ones usually. The playgrounds around our neighborhood doesn't have it, if you've been there. You shook your head, so perplexed. Unfortunately, I have not. Dang. You've been to playgrounds before, though, right? Baxter had to pause to think on it. He shrugged.
Maybe?
In my elementary school, I did have recess, but it was sports fields more than traditional playgrounds. For some reason, it's hard to picture you as a little kid. Well, I'd rather you not imagine that, so it still all works out. Cove placed a finger on his cheek as he puzzled out the game's conundrum. He tapped his face absentmindedly. It's slippery, you can't really walk on it.
Huh?
Slippery? Every clue lost Baxter even more. He had no idea what the word could be. So now go down. It's long, tall, and you have to climb to get to the top. You can go on it one way, but you can't really go. Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha? The cha-cha slide? Oh, slide! That's it, slide. Baxter's floundering confidence returned in full force with a broad grin.
Excellent.
I got it? He flipped the paper around and traced the fingers across the word. He smirked at it. Thank you very much for the tip, Luna. I'm guessing that certain words, if you don't give the right clue, the person's not going to get it. Like with Cove, doing a food hint works really well. With, obviously, Baxter, music is a good hint. Liz patted you on the arm with approval. Nice one, you had the magic approach that time. You unfolded the paper given to you, careful not to peek while he showed everyone. Liz leaned in closely with a thoughtful hum. As soon as Lee had the chance to read the word, she jumped up. Dog! There's a popular dog sometimes called that. It's where scientists do experiments and stuff?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a secret location. Okay, so dig? Poop piece. Experiment. Liz gave Cove an edge look. She probably thought it would confuse you. Can be used for photos as well. Ink? Camera? No, that wouldn't make sense. There's... dig? I'm gonna guess dig site. Dig site. You turned your paper around. That does make sense. Because, like, there's a chocolate lab. Scientists have a lab. But what?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a secret. I mean, I guess it's kind of a secret location. Because, like, secret labs and stuff. It can be used as I'm still gonna guess. Yeah, because it's... You turn the paper around and stare with a piercing gaze. In the tiny, neat letters, you saw the word lab. Oh. Well, that makes sense now. Before lab had come to mind, there was just so much information to sort through before nothing had quite fit properly. No worries, Luna, it's a team effort, it's not just on you. Let's keep things going, I'm having fun. Suddenly, the boat tipped forward before rocking back harshly. The ship must have gone over a much bigger than usual wave. Liz held onto her hat desperately. Lee laughed at her immediate death grip. You never know what will happen on the high seas. You chuckled too. You and Lee each chuckled together while Liz sucked up her nose. However, you and your sister was now smiling and holding her hand slackens. The game continued with Liz and Lee taking their turns. It was such a good time that you decided to play a few more games. Liz turned out to be the best guesser, although that could have been because you knew her well enough to give her relevant hints. Lee had to stop herself from answering on the first clue she was given, but no one really minded. All in all, everyone was glad that Lee had suggested the game. Oh, Lee shot you a grin. Why don't we have some drinks? There's a bar on the ship. Cove tilted his head in disbelief. Lee continued blithely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff behind the counter. I bet I can make whatever that you can think of. That sounds like an interesting challenge. There's a lot of different juices and stuff. I think I've seen strawberry puree and pineapple. The carrot juice sounds intriguing.
So
it's a juice bar? Yeah? Liz laughed and tapped Lee on the shoulder. You just said barley. I think you gave the wrong idea. Oops, sorry for the disappointment, Cove. No alcohol is provided by the ship. That's probably required, considering the group that they got today. I'm not disappointed by that. I didn't want to get drunk on a ship. I'm a little disappointed. Lee breezed past the misunderstanding as though it hadn't even happened. I was thinking we can mix them up and get something special. Anyone interested? Cove thought about it, intrigued. Liz smirked, recognizing the potential for chaos. Sounds like a recipe for disaster. It'll be a dream, trust me. So who wants to make drinks?
What?
What? It was your idea. Why don't you do it? I mixed drinks before. If anyone else would want to try, this would be a great chance. I'm a gracious hostess. I'll make drinks. Cool, you're gonna make something wonderful. I just know it. You wondered if you ought to ask for a request, but Lee hustled you off to the non-alcoholic bar. No one else followed. Lee gave you a brief tour of selections in various compartments before she went back to the tables. She shouted a final message over her shoulder. "Make sure there's enough for everyone." She waved, and then you were left alone with the juice. There was a fridge packed with cartons of various glass bottles of juice. Lee had placed a pitcher on the counter for you to mix things into. You stared at the options, trying to see what you had to work with. There's a lot of choices. Reach into the fridge to take out some juice. He grabs... Orange juice is always really good. Pineapple juice is good. Mango juice is good. Strawberry juice could be interesting. Mixed raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry juice could be interesting. I don't think the rest of these could necessarily... Like, apple juice, always good, but I don't think that's necessarily what I want to go with. Grape juice, interesting, but again, Cranberry juice, interesting, but again, not the flavor I'm going for. I'm going for a sweeter drink. Carrot juice, never had it. I can't imagine it'd be good. Personally, don't like coconut water, so I'm going to avoid it. Pomegranate juice, papaya juice could be interesting. Never had it, but I'm going to avoid it. With your juice done, you set out some glasses and poured out some for everyone. "Hey everyone, come on and get your juice." The group got up and from the lounge and from their chairs they'd been sitting on came to fetch their drinks. Everyone picked up a glass and took a sip. Cove raised his eyebrows after he tried it. You definitely got into your juice mix. Cove downed the rest of your glass in the next drink he took. He let out a satisfied sigh. That was good.
Right?
Yeah, nice work. Not bad. The little juice experience was a good time as far as you were concerned. Contently, all of you stood close together, still holding some of the juice cups. Lee's eyes scanned the group. She giggled.
Right?
This is so much nicer than having to rely on the regular phones to catch up, right? Before anyone could respond, Lee's eyes widened. The corner of your mouth pulled into a amused smile. Not that I don't enjoy our chats from afar, just more fun to actually be here together.
That's fine.
We understand, and yes, this is a fantastic little party. Happy graduation, Lee, Luna, and Cove. That was followed by more cheers and celebrations of your high school careers coming to an end. Lee even lifted out her glass to toast to it. When it settled down, your older sister had one more comment to add. And no one even had to fight over who gets to use the home phone. Lee threw her head back into thunderous laughter, the smile widened on your face. I remember that, all the times Elizabeth here was trying to push me into being less grabby. She needed me to stop so she could call her other friends instead. Many teens have a too cool for family phase.
You're welcome.
Yeah, luckily it's all okay. I forgive Liz for being a teenager. That too got a hearty laugh out, Liz. You got a quiet snicker out of Cove too. Then Lee drank the rest of her juice down the very last drop. She made her way over to the table by Cove and sat her cup down. Actually, Cove watched Lee as his mouth pulled into a lopsided smile. Making these juices concoctions remind me a lot of that smoothie business down at the mall. The one that lets you pick all the fruit that goes in it. That was a good place.
Yeah!
That was the best, and that's exactly what I was channeling when I came up with the idea. Glad you caught on to that finally. Sorry, I can take a while to get things sometimes. You all know that. Too true. That's an understatement. You crossed your arms and Lee snorted. Cove turned to you looking betrayed. The moment broke with the sound of Liz's quiet laugh. That was all it took for it to get Lee laughing, and soon you were all soaking up the mirth of the moment too.
Well?
Though, that aside, we shouldn't leave Baxter out of the loop either. Everyone followed her lead and turned to the guest for the summer. His expression softened as he shrugged one shoulder.
I get it.
Well, it's true I wasn't here for all these stories. I do enjoy hearing about them. It's nice to only listen sometimes. Cool. Really mature. Thank you. His gaze traveled from Lee to Liz and over to you, and he sighed. My cousins aren't nearly as close in age as you are. It's an only child. I'm curious what kind of relationship it's like. Oh, I'm with you there. Only child solidarity. Lee nodded firmly to Baxter and then shot Cove a serious look. He crossed his arms. Right, only child solidarity. Genuine smile lit up on Baxter's face. Lee clapped her hands together, pleased that the united front created. Sharing at the same wavelength, you and Liz turned to give one another a look. Not breaking eye contact, she reached over and put a hand on top of your head.
Thanks.
It's wonderful for you three, and I'll keep Luna, thanks. Your siblings' stare shadowed into laughter. The others joined in as well. The hours were spent chatting away, sharing stories and your favorite memories as the boat drifted off into sea. As time slipped by, the sun hanging low in the sky signaled that it was time to set sail back to the harbor. The more boisterous atmosphere from earlier had settled into a blanket of comfortable relaxation. Liz and Lee were absorbed in conversation, lounging around on deck couch. Baxter sat across from them, nodding along, and every now and then you could hear laughter coming from the three of them. They were always smiles. Taking a deep breath of sea air, you sighed contently. Cove stood by your side in the center deck. When everyone was ready, you looked back to the deck and the faces of everyone you spent the afternoon with. You never wanted to forget that view. Then, looking at the wide open ocean, you committed every bit of moment to memory. Quietly thought to yourself today certainly had been an adventure. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path wherever it might lead you into the future. Goodbye, and hope to see you guys next time.